The state legislature right now is considering a measure that would give municipalities the ability to try rent control if they so choose. Most of you oppose Denver introducing some form of rent control. We're going to show the folks at home where you stand on this. Kelly Brough has said no to this, along with Chris Hansen, Mike Johnston, Debbie Ortega, Trinidad Rodriguez, Andy Rougeau, and Thomas Wolf. Those of you in favor of some form of rent control are Lisa Calderon, Al Gardner, and Terrence Roberts. And Leslie Herod has repeatedly declined to take a position on this on our candidate questionnaire, in an interview, and in previous forums. So Leslie Herod, you're likely to be voting on this soon in the state legislature. So given that Denver voters are receiving their ballots starting today, might you give them a sneak preview of your position before you vote publicly in the legislature on the issue of municipalities opting into rent control?
Absolutely. And when we filled out that questionnaire, the conversation was very much still happening in the House, and the bill was under amendments, and I choose not to commit unless I am a part of that amendment process on any specific bill. But I did vote for that bill, and so that is my vote. I voted yes to allow municipalities to have some type of rent stabilization policies in our city. Look, we need 50,000 more units of real, truly affordable housing today. That's below market rate for people who are living in the city today. We also need to make sure that if you're a mom trying to make ends meet, that you don't get a notice that your rent is going up by $300, $400 the next month. We can't afford that right now.
So
it's
I just want to be clear.
So to be clear,
you support municipalities trying it, and you support Denver trying it, because it's a two-step process.
So to be clear, I voted yes on the bill to ensure that municipalities have the option to have the conversation. Denver should have this on the table as we're considering all that we should do. And again, I'll point folks to my website. We have plans on our website today where we have hundreds of units today in vacant lots that we can build for the people of Denver, and we can build them at below market rate. That is the priority.
Thank you.
Kelly Brough, I've heard you talk about building affordable housing on surface parking lots, including rec centers. I haven't heard you talk about going to voters. Denver City Charter bans the sale or lease of any parks property, with few exceptions that require it to be a park's purpose. So it sounds like you're aware of the part of city charter. So what part of your plan involves asking voters to remove that ban?
Yeah, I mean, I think it becomes, if we do decide that we want to build on rec centers and the parking lot is part of the park land or not. And that's just the piece I have to check further. But I've talked about it as libraries, police stations, firehouses, partnering with Denver Public Schools, RTD, the state of Colorado, and the federal government. So I think there's lots of parking lots that we can work on that don't require a vote.
I just noticed rec centers always came first.
Oh, sorry. I'll switch order.
Councilwoman Robin Kniech recently wrote, candidates are mistaken in thinking Denver is sitting on acres of empty lots to build affordable housing. Inventories have been done, only a handful of lots for residential were found, and most have already been sold or leased for affordability. Do you know of lots that she doesn't?
No, she's correct. That's why I'm focused on the parking lots, is we don't have a ton of vacant, empty space with nothing on it.
Leslie, I heard you say it earlier, about 1 minute ago, 15 seconds. Where are these lots that...
Yeah, there's 60-plus lots that we have identified, working in partnership with some folks who are doing this out in community, that have developed a tech platform that overlays zoning and residential, commercial restrictions in the city over city-owned lots. And we have identified 60 lots that can be utilized for things like affordable housing, like creative space. I created the Middle Income Housing Authority at the state level to ensure we have more housing options for teachers, firefighters, nurses. That's also in the plan.
Debbie Ortega, you talk about building modular homes on publicly owned land that will cost 40% less because you take the land value out of the equation. You've also touted a company from England to make these homes. Thomas Wolf said he's ready to invest if you can pull it off, but he doesn't think it's possible. Help me understand a couple things. How does the math work? And is it appropriate to plug this one private company from England when there are local companies that can factory build modular homes?
So this is using a completely different technology than what is being used today by any of the manufacturing companies that are in Colorado. This gentleman has been here. The company is called Lattice. He's met with some of the other manufactured housing companies. And the reality is it's the technology that allows the product to be produced much quicker. And it will also train and upskill individuals at the same time. So the cost would be 40% less because you have a fixed cost of your materials and your labor. And where you have public lands, you take the land cost out. So the goal is to do for sale, rental, and it can be multifamily as well.
And briefly, because I heard Mike Johnston say he doesn't want to tip his hand about Broncos anything, why would you tip your hand to a company that says, if I'm mayor, you're coming in with me?
I want a technology that is going to produce the product much quicker so that we can bring the affordability online that is bringing it at a lower price point than what anybody else is doing in the market today.
30 seconds, Thomas Wolf. Why don't you believe this?
Let's see. There's about $1 trillion that gets deployed into, it's one of the 4 food groups of institutional investment into property. I'm pretty sure those guys take a pretty close look at what is the most productive way of doing this, the most competitive. That's the opportunity with the free market, is that somebody's always trying to do better than the next guy. When your city is trying to do it, it always takes longer, costs more, and is much more inefficient.
Thank you.
So can I just counter that?
15 seconds.
So this is utilizing the technology, and the reason he had the conversations with our other manufactured facilities in Colorado was to see if they were willing to utilize that technology. If they're not, then that's where we want to build this manufactured facility here in Colorado to meet the need in the demand.
Thank you very much.